Hey guys, welcome back. I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle, and this is the Top Music Attorney Podcast, the place where you learn all about the entertainment business and how to stay legally protected, and we're doing it all here for free. So tonight we have, right out the gate, a artist review. We're going to be talking to Dead Guy. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Producer is making sure we are all squared up. We of course are going to be jumping to all things current news. We have things happening. We're talking about Prince. There's something popping off with that. We have the Dua Lipa case and some updates there. And then of course, I always have a supercharged business tip for you guys, and we're going to be jumping into discussing beat licenses, also known as leases. And these are just very common questions that I get, and I'm going to be giving you guys kind of all the best information. So, hello everyone in the chat. Nice to see you guys here. Hey, hey, hey. We're broadcasting right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, all the places. Where else? Facebook. Hi from the UK. Nice to see you as well. So last night, we're going to run the intro here in a second, but last night we did a live stream on Miss Krystle Instagram, and so that's when I usually am just more, let's relax, let's recharge, let's get our chi all correct, and so we'll take a look at that, and we did a little sing along. All right, nice to see you guys. So drop a comment. Where are you checking in from? What time is it? We're going to run the intro, and then we will be back to catch up with everyone. Hey, always nice to see some friendly faces. I love you guys that check in every show. I appreciate you being here. So let's run the intro, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected.
Let's go.
Hey, all right, so I did remember the gavel this time. We will be gaveling it up during the show, which has become a favorite for some of you guys, which I love. New Jersey. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. It's been a good day. I'm excited because especially, as a real entertainment attorney, during business hours, I'm running my law firm. We're having a good time. And I have some pretty big deals that I am overseeing, which is so fun for me when we are doing deals in the multi-millions. It's cool. I like doing the small deals. I like doing the big deals, but some of the big ones are a lot of fun. So I appreciate you guys being here. Two things before we're going to jump into our artist review segment. Now, of course, we are doing artist review segments. So if you guys are artists and you want your music reviewed, you have questions, legal questions, you can go to topmusicattorney.com, of course, /artist submission, but there is a link on the actual homepage to make it real easy for you. But anyway, so two things before we get into all of that. Happy Friday. Yeah, I think I just keep forgetting what day it is. That's just where I'm at in my life. They just blur together, and that's what we're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you so much for the reminder. Yes, make sure you hit the like button. If you guys like the video on whatever platform you are watching, it helps to push it out to the rest of the world and helps us push the reach. So make sure you hit like, leave comments. But in any case, here are the two things. Number one, we officially launched the 28 music business secrets every artist needs to know. That's also on topmusicattorney.com. And so this is a free PDF. You can get it right now to your device, your computer, your phone, and definitely read through it. I took some time to go through and not only talk about obviously the most common music business terminology, but I give you kind of my best business tip or hack as far as, industry standard, percentages you should know about, how they try to kind of screw you in these different scenarios. So definitely read through it. It's probably going to take you like 5 minutes to read through, but it's just jam-packed, a ton of knowledge. So make sure you get that 28 music business secrets every artist should know and how to not get screwed. And then number two, just as a, random, a lot of you artists and music business owners understand the importance of marketing yourself, of marketing your business, your products, your services. And, we talk so much about the importance of marketing on the channel. So, I do the same thing, right? So I have my law firm, I have this podcast, I have all kinds of things that I need to promote. So in any case, I have so many drafts, particularly in TikTok. I find that TikTok is like the place I really enjoy creating in. It's just easier for me. And so in any case, I have been having this issue with the audio recording off sync, literally since I started doing TikToks, seriously, like a year and a half ago. So long story short, I have like hundreds of drafts at this point. And in order to reset TikTok, you have to uninstall it, okay? If you uninstall it, it's going to delete all of your drafts. And I'm like, no. So anyway, I've been basically on the purge, okay, the last 2 weeks or so. I don't know if you guys follow me on Miss Krystle anything, but you've probably been seeing a ton of content coming out. And it's just because I don't even care how it does. If I thought it was fun, I just like, here's another draft. Let's release it. Which has been a good, experience for me just to let go, because we all kind of overthink stuff. We're like, oh, is this post good? Does it represent the music well? Do I look like, a dumbass? But in any case, it's been kind of fun just to push out tons and tons of content. So I'm finally down to the last 10 drafts. And I'm going to basically just go through them over the next 24 hours, and then I will uninstall TikTok. I'm so hoping that this fixes the issue because what an amount of work it's been. So I'll give you guys an update when we come back on Tuesday show, 7 p.m. p.s.t. And I'll let you know if all this effort has proven helpful. And then lastly, I had promised that I would show you guys. So last night, we did our little sing-along. Here we go. So you can go back and watch this if you want, but basically I don't even know how to explain it. I do like ASMR head tickles as it's like late at night and just to promote relaxation, and we sing songs, some of my original stuff, some of my covers, and we just check in. So in any case, that's what we did last night. Check it out if you want. All right, so we're going to get into this artist review. I'm very excited, and you guys are going to be able to learn a lot from this conversation. So if you have additional questions, feedback, be sure to leave that in the chat, and then we will be running a music video and then getting into all things entertainment and music business news. So in any case, without further ado, I'm going to bring in our guest. Here we go. Why, hello.
How you doing?
Doing great. All right, so you're Dead Guy, and what I think a good place to start with this is just to tell our audience, your genre of music. What do you do?
So I kind of do core, a little bit of punk pop. I've been crossing over back doing covers of, I did the Cranberries, a couple other ones that are gonna be getting released when I put my new album out. I just can like constantly genre hop because it's always whatever I.
Okay, got it. Fair enough. All right, so with that in mind, we're going to bring that Orko in a little bit, and then that way we can get more substantively into more of the creative aspect. But I figured let's tease a little bit of the music right out the gate, and then I kind of want to just talk to you for a few minutes because you know me, I'm all about the legal stuff and contracts. But let's just give the audience a little taste of kind of what you do. I have your song Runaway, and is that a good one to? Okay, let's play this one. Here we go.
It's going to be on the new album.
All right, perfect.
Let's go back to yesterday when we dreamed of better things, when we knew everything was gonna be okay. Before it all went away, so all we do now is run away. Feeling kinda down and out, no one ever comes around. Guess what went up? Sugar, I'm feeling down. Just another Fall Out Boy, an Armageddon asteroid. Ain't no strings on me, guess I'm a bad toy. Please forgive me, know I got some habits, cause I tend to be a savage. Carrying baggage, always kinda maddened. Can't explain the right way, don't know what to say. Guess it's never ever gonna be okay. Guess I should've slowed my roll, lost my grit and slipped a bit. Got no foothold, growing old and rather cold. But I got a lot of stories, way too many ghosts. It's all just smoke and mirrors, all quick it disappears. Let's go back to yesterday, when we dreamed of better things, when we knew everything was gonna be okay. Before it all went away, so all we do now is run away. Let's go back to yesterday when we dreamed of better things, when we knew everything was gonna be okay before it all went away. So all we do now is
All we do now is run away. All right, so let me pull this down. All right, so let's talk for a second. Talk to me about your music production. Did you license that beat? Did you make that beat?
Simple. So I purchased the lease, just typical like up to so many plays lease before renegotiating for additional royalty split off of it. I think it's like 10,000.
Perfect. Yeah, and in fact, we'll be talking later on in the show about just leases, how they work, and some of the problems sometimes that artists can run into. But in any case, good to know. So then you talk to me about your setup. Are you basically DIY at home as
Yeah,
far
I'm
as your
doing
recording
DIY at
studio?
home recording. I'm doing my own engineering. I'm doing the mixing, and then I actually use eMastered for my mastering because like I'm not really that great at the mastering process, and sometimes my pans come out a little heavy and bleed over my middles.
Yeah, practice makes perfect for sure. And I even learned that when I was, kind of putting myself out there for the first time. And, obviously at some point you can end up working with additional mixing engineers, mastering engineers, but those come with additional expenses. So obviously to the extent you can keep it in-house, that's a way to keep costs down.
Other engineers before, like Intrinsic from Underground Hustlin', on a collab I did for one of their mixtapes. So like depending on the level of the project and like the artist I'm working with, DIY or send out.
Okay. So talk to me right now as far as kind of, if you had to pick something that you are frustrated with as far as the music business, where you're at in your career, talk to me.
Honestly, I feel like you kind of hit a certain point, right, where like you're trying to find that next step up, where like you made your material, you began marketing, you have some apparel, you've done a handful of, and then like you kind of just get stuck where like you're trying to meet the next promoter, trying to meet the next to beyond that. You might already have your LLC started or a DB to be able to expense stuff, but then like I feel like I've just kind of hit like a plateau, and like the waves aren't getting any bigger, and I'm not getting any closer to the beach, but I can still see it, so to speak.
Okay, fair enough. So what's your goal as far as, are you looking at numbers online as being the goal? Are you looking at building the team and having the right, manager and collaborating partner? Kind of what are the goals in your mind?
So, like, honestly, I feel like I've kind of done as much as I can, and I get really lucky. I've been tuning into you for a while. I've gotten to meet a lot of people that have done well in the business, and like gotten to pick their ear for advice, gotten to read great advice on yours, got great things out of your book. But like, I just think like I want to maybe move towards a management team, more. And it's just been really hard, with the pandemic stuff going on. Nobody wanted to go out. There weren't a lot of shows being booked, even at like the smaller artist level. So like, I feel it's just been kind of a year treading water, waiting for the gates to open back up and then to get seriously committed to it.
Yeah, and look, I think when it comes to securing the team, this is something I talk about because even with my own career, this was the pivotal change for me when I was able to get a couple people in place to help me with my operations. It feels so overwhelming as an independent artist to kind of, how do you handle all the marketing aspect and you're still creating at the same time and trying to put out the music. So it's a lot, but I think even just talking about the manager for a moment, typically we look close to home, so to speak, right? We're looking at the people who we know, right? If they're family or friends, but it needs to be someone who can actually help you, right? Just saying I have a manager is not going to be helpful. You want someone who has connections, right? So have you had a manager before, and what was that experience?
Well, like I have a couple of friends in the industry and do like their own businesses, run their own pages. Like I do a lot of consulting back and forth with them to like help with my decisions. But most of the time, like it's always me. Now, if it's something important, like making another move, I have like my two go-to people, and that's really about it. I haven't had anybody seriously committed where it's just a one-on-one.
Got it. Hey, real quick shout out. Thank you very much for the super chat. We appreciate the support very much. So we'll feel free. Yeah, Ripley says thank you. All your super chats go to give her treats. But in any case, so when it comes to kind of securing the right manager, let me just tell you, I have had so many artists who will have a manager, and they get excited because it's the prospect of having someone who's going to help you. But then that manager, comes in, you sign a contract, they end up taking 15 to 20% of your monies. And if you're not making a lot of money, that's a lot. And when you are making a lot of money, that's a lot that's coming out of your portion. And so if you had in the ideal situation, let's say a manager, what would that manager be doing for you?
Well, it'd be like I get get emailed about features. I go sometimes, just like handling the engagement for me, maybe like helping deal with the marketing, like, and, sometimes as an artist, we all have those lazy weeks where we just don't feel like doing things, just kind of help pushing me forward to where, it's not only helping him make money, it's helping us grow and the entire experience of it.
Yeah, okay, something to consider as well, because when you end up finding the right person to be like a manager or an agent, it's going to be the fit, and typically it's someone who's been following you. And sometimes that takes time. It for me, for a lot of people, you don't find the right marketing person, you don't find the right manager, the right agent for a while because, personalities and rapport and work ethic, and people just don't care about your music career the way you do. And so for me, what I found is kind of my life hack was I could pay people as contractors to do these things. For example, you're like, I need someone to intercept emails. I don't want to deal with that. I want them to help with setting this stuff up. I mean, keep in mind that you can hire someone on a minimal basis just to handle emails from you or for you from time to time. You don't necessarily need to have someone who is your personal manager. So understand that you can get someone to handle that for you, and they don't have to be taking a percentage from you.
So I've actually been looking at just so much a week to handle my posts, and kind of like foreground it, still get on there, interact. Like I work as well, so trying to juggle sometimes, like you just don't have the time to get out there as much as you should, I feel.
Yeah, and I think that, you have to have the determination to just do it when you don't have someone else. But going back to, you can literally go to Upwork, right? That's a website, Upwork, Fiverr. These are two websites where you can hire people to do some of this stuff for you. Now, look, when it comes to your social media, giving out credentials, access, I would say be a little more picky with who it is, because you're giving them access and they could just delete your account, right? But there are people who will do this and charge you incredibly minimal amounts, and now you have a system in place and you're like, all right, so all I need to do is create that little thing, promotion, a picture. You're in charge of making the media, but then if you can give it to someone else and they're posting and they're helping with engagement and this and that, then I think it's going to take a lot off your plate, and it sounds like that's what you're looking for.
So it definitely is.
Yeah, and then look, here's the thing. When it comes to how do I now network and get to the next step, there's a couple different ways to go at this. So talk to me a little bit about your life outside of music. What are you doing?
So I work for Amazon, but luckily
Yep.
there seems to be an amazing amount of videographers, other artists, graphics people, apparel people that do it all themselves on the weekend as well. So like I've gotten to meet a few people. I've gotten invited out to a couple local events to just come hang out. But like I always try to engage with other people's posts. I try to like reach out to friends of friends or like other artists just to like say, hey, how you doing? Maybe, send me a couple of links. I'd like to listen to some of your stuff and go back and forth whenever I do get the chance to be on my socials. My little sister works in the bar downtown, so I get to meet a couple of the people that do like bookings and stuff like that when I go visit her at work.
Yeah, I think that what you're doing as far as one aspect of how to network, actually being present and going to these things, is very helpful, because especially in, certain music scenes, in our, or, in my state and a lot of this, nearby territories, we have very small music communities. So the point just being, you're going to run into a lot of the same videographers, a lot of the same booking agents, a lot of the same managers, and then you just network that way. But I'll tell you, the fastest way to be able to attract the attention, talent, staff that you want is to build your own platform. So that goes back to, your marketing and deciding, even though you're so busy and it's really hard, that literally is the most important thing. So let's talk about your social media, right? So how often are you posting?
I'll say sometimes I'm really good at, and then, I'll go like a week and not post, but, like I work, say I take care of my kid, and then they found a better way to do it. I got the Meta Business app to where I can just schedule them.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that way I can stay more active and engaged and getting stuff out, especially like with my show coming up. Like I
Well,
really,
talk to me about your show. When's your show?
so it's going to be October 28th and 29th in Las Vegas. It's
Love it.
106 side. It's an artist out of California contest, other contests. That's going to be 12 different artists. So it's going
Love
to be
it. All
like a
right.
nice network.
Yeah, so I mean, look, as I'm kind of just going through, your social media and whatever main pages you provide, and people are just, going to be searching on. This is your business card. right? So if I know nothing about you and I'm just like, oh wow, I want to check out this guy, the first couple of things I'm seeing, great, cover art. This looks fun. I have no idea what I'm looking at, but it's cool. And so it's speaking to me. But now, I'm going down and I'm like, all right, so is this going to be the first thing where I can actually hear you now? So that's something to keep in mind as far as the frequency of how much you're posting. It doesn't have to be every single day. The more that you could post, the better. But how recent did you post that I can actually go in and hear you or see you, right? So it looks like there's some promotion here, and I'm going to keep going. So that's the other thing here, as far as, do you have kind of that stellar song, right? So if it's maybe the song that we just listened to, and to have that pretty frequently posted in the timeline. But the reason I asked you as far as kind of like, what's your life like outside of music, is because, we forget that we have to be entertaining. It's not just about promoting ourselves and our music, right? It's about actually entertaining our audience. So if we don't entertain and give to them, and we're constantly just asking and asking, then they're going to get turned off, because everyone's asking for everything, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so as far as, what you can share in other aspects of your life, that's always the challenge. And I always tell people, I'm like, think of like the 5 categories of your life, right? So it sounds like family is one. You may or may not want to share about any of that, right? So maybe if you could talk about family. Maybe you're into personal development, right? So you're working on stuff, you've had some struggles. Maybe you're into sports, right? So you want to share your interests, what you're excited about. Of course, music is another, maybe you're spiritual. So if you can think of like the 5 categories of what makes you you, those are 5 categories of things that you can now promote online, in that you're just kind of giving value and sharing.
And
And
the music
so
as much, but like also create an experience with everybody that's engaging.
yeah, because people want to get to know you and to connect with you. Because if they connect with you, now they're going to follow on social media. You have to think it's like 2 different brains. People, if they like your music, they're going to follow you on the music platforms, right? They're going to add you on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever. But if they like you as a person, they're going to follow you on social media because they want to know what's going on with you. And so going back to what I said with, how do we actually get to the point of networking and getting people to want to approach you? Hey, you want to jump on my show? Hey, you want to jump on, my song? Well, that happens automatically once you have your own platform. And so that's why I'm saying this is a step that gets missed because we're not connecting the dots. And everything that I think you are wanting with the network sphere and finding the right manager and this and that will happen as you continue to elevate, not only on social media, but your fan following on the music platforms. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to keep going through and looking at some of your social media. I don't want to super harp on it, but I just want to make sure that it's something that I really drive home, because even for me, it was the biggest game changer, because I just really did not like social media. Selfies are just like the worst thing ever. And finally, I was just like, let's just try this. What's the worst that could happen? And I started getting more regular and consistent and sharing stuff that honestly I didn't want to share. My thing is, I want to share music and my art because that's what I care about. I don't really want to share stuff about being an attorney, but just so happens that people find some of the attorney stuff that I do entertaining. So that became one of the categories of things that I shared, and then it helped to entertain people, and it brought in traffic then for my music.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna bring in that Orko. Here we go. Let's see how this goes.
Hey.
Hello. All right, so I just gave him a whole spiel just about
No, I liked
kind of
it.
marketing.
I was making notes. So first of all, let me just piggyback. I like the song. I like that you seem like the kind of guy that likes to talk about I'm just going by the one song. I'm assuming your other songs are kind of like that because you're very personal in your music. You seem to be going for that relatability kind of factor as far as just you're putting yourself out there, talking about your own insecurities and your own struggles. I mean, that's the way that I was hearing Runaway. And I think that stuff is really important. And we know when she was talking about those 5 things that you have that can help you along, because really in your music career and your music branding or in your artist branding, music is actually like the smallest factor of what it is. Like, because once your song is out, it's out, it's done. I mean, you're promoting it and you're trying to do, but you're already finished. It's there. So it's like, it's what's next. And I think with the lyrical kind of content that you have in the Runaway, and just kind of from talking to you and hearing, what kind of guy you are and stuff, if you were one of those kind of individuals that like to talk about your own journey and just like really honest and kind of put yourself out there, I think your fans would really resonate, because that seems like it's already going naturally with your branding as far as your lyrical content. So it seems like so if like, I don't know what your whole story is, but if you were going through some struggles and you're kind of honest about it and just kind of talking about your life and kind of giving that thing, I think you are relatable to a lot of people, and especially in this underground, in the scene that you're in, I think that you are very relatable. And so I think that that could be a way that you do. But I mean, also if you fix cars, if you or happen to be a chef, whatever your talent is, that's the other thing that you should be focusing on just as much as the actual music, because you're not releasing songs every day. You're not releasing, but you are doing something every day in your life that makes you you. So just remember those things. Like, so for Miss Krystle, she mentioned she does, entertainment law, she, we had a cooking show back in the day when she was really into her health. She does her wellness Wednesdays because she's very into health and wellness. So it's just like, but that's natural to her. She wasn't like she found a trend and was like, oh, I'm going to try a health thing because I see other people doing a health thing. This is stuff that she was already doing. So she was just naturally sharing what it is that she does. And then as far as your posting frequency, the thing that you have to be careful, because you said you were kind of inconsistent. I think the thing that you need to be careful with, your algorithm will choke you if you're not on some kind of consistency. So if like you're doing 2 days 1 week and then you're taking a week off and then you're going to come back and do 3 and then you're going to take 2 weeks off and do 1, you're never going to catch any traction. Like you need to have some kind of a discipline to have it. Like, if you're starting off, let me make it easy. I'm going to post on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that's it. And but start being consistent. We post over 20 pieces of content every day across multiple social media platforms. It's not just the same piece of content posted 20 something times. It's different pieces of content. You're not there yet. I understand that the hardest thing is to put yourself out there. So make sure that you're doing what Miss Krystle does on Saturdays. She gets up, she spends about 4 hours and she bulk does her TikToks, and she films them all and she gets them all ready. And then she spends, that night kind of editing them on her phone, and then she sprinkles them out throughout the week. And that's just kind of how you need to do it. If you're going like, I need to do it something to release tomorrow, then you're already lost the battle. Like you need to have it as a part of your schedule. Like if you were, on Sunday night, I watched Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Like the way that you schedule your Game of Thrones, you need to schedule your content creation.
Scheduling is so important. And
it's
maybe
the
what
hardest
we can do,
thing.
I was gonna say, why don't why don't we play one of the videos from the YouTube channel, and then maybe let's give some thoughts on the actual music,
Okay.
and that way we can round this out just a little bit. So I'm going to mute you both. Let's see if we can get this to share correctly.
I'm Dr. Delgado, and I prescribe Addie.
And I prescribe Addie.
Oh my goodness. All right, here we go.
Shouts to dead guy. Why not the Kraken and Whitney Payton? Let's go crazy on
Miss Whitney Payton.
Sick and fucking tired of feeling so deranged. Always anxious, always angry. Now I'm screaming, slowly sinking back into depression, panic stricken. Just can't seem to get a breath in. Running back through every single lesson, so I grabbed a pen and paper, murder this confession. Catch me in the booth, whiskey on my breath, spitting truth. Nothing left to lose, nothing else I gotta prove. Been through hell and back, what about you? Hold up fam, let me dust the brimstone off my shoes. Why, yes I am the demon, with hatred seething. Music my obsession, in my microphone my weapon. Laughing when you trigger, there's my ego getting bigger. Screaming fuck you, waving both middle fingers. That's my name on all the whispers, this a creature feature. Breaking down your fucking speakers. Dead guy.
All right, there we go. All right, let me turn you guys back on. All right, so there we go. Hey. So generally, first thing, I like your cover art. I like the actual cover art. It looks great.
I did that.
Oh, do you? Oh, so okay. Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, I do almost
So
all my own graphics.
So that's a talent. So it's perfect. So that's a talent that you have. That's something that you could explore. You could even get into doing tutorial videos on how you do your graphic design. You go, this is how these are all the steps of where you're, so like, let's say you did in Photoshop, right? And let's say you had like 12 layers And so what you do is for the art that it is, let's say it was that song. So while that song is playing for your TikTok, you're revealing each one of the different layers and showing it slowly. You actually show a screenshot of your Photoshop, so you're actually showing your project as you're unveiling what the final product of the cover
Yeah,
looks like,
with
one
your
step at a
song
time,
playing in
with
the
your song in the
background. That
background.
would be so interesting. You should do that. You should do that still now, for the song or anything else that you have done that for continued promotion. Promote your shit over and over and over, 6 months, a
And
year, 2 years later. Keep
and the thing
promoting
that
because
we
you never know when something's going to hit.
And the reason why we have the hard time to do that is because we are embarrassed to like overdo it, especially if the first couple things aren't getting views on it. It's like we're just keep pushing the song, and it's like our friends see them, you know what I mean? And it's like it's embarrassing. Like nobody cares about us. So the first piece of advice I should have came on is I tell all artists, stop counting on your friends and family for your music career. It doesn't matter. Your friends, your family's opinion about your music career does not matter about your music. If your friends don't get it, cool. If your family doesn't get it, cool. Don't invite them to shows. Don't invite them to things because you're putting too much of your fan. If you're relying on them for your fan base, you've already lost. All you want is cold audiences. Now I'll tell you something about myself. This is something that I feel very personal about because I go through this myself. So what I did was I have a channel that I don't really talk about. And so what I did was I started it and I didn't tell anybody I have it. And I've grown this channel and I'm growing something separate because I don't want my friends to have any influence or give me an advice or any kind of thing that they don't know what they talk about, because your friends and their family all have their own motives, whether it's to praise you or whether it's to tear you down because they don't like what you do. They don't think you should be doing it. They don't agree with it, whatever it is. Everybody has their own agenda except for your true ride or die fans that are with you because they're relating to you. That's who you want. So that's
You want to make sure you just kind of put your head down and go, right? So
yeah.
following, if you take some tips from this conversation as far as, all right, so I need to kind of put a plan into play. Maybe I have to do all of my marketing. But again, with the standpoint of you're doing the long game here. You're building so that you can kind of attract the people that you want, because that's really the goal. And in order to do that, obviously, we've discussed build, get the following. But you got to put your head down and just work and grind. And that grind might be for the next year, it might be for the next 2 years. But all you should be looking at is strategy, and just to see if what you're doing is helping to move things along, if it's helping for you to grow. Because if it's not, it's time to shift. And I kind of told that Orko this the other night, and I'm just like, failing as fast as possible should be the goal. Okay. So meaning that if you try something for like a couple of weeks and you're seeing zero traction, cool. That was a failure. Move on. And the faster you go through that process, the sooner you'll arrive at the thing that works. And you'll be so grateful to yourself that you basically didn't give up.
Chase the growth. Chase the growth that you feel. Like, stop looking for goals of like, oh, I need to get 5,000 streams on this song or whatever it is. That's not the goal. The goal is you're continuing to get better to where you have a career to this is what you're doing. And this is all that you're doing. You're not working at Amazon anymore. This is all that you're doing because you figured out the business. So as Farshi said, yes, put your head down, ignore family and friends, and drop your song like 15 times if you have to. Like, who cares? Stop worrying about what other people think. That matters is what your fans think, and it's fine. We just recently dropped a video on Elijah the Boy, who has had incredible success, and he was just getting hate from his people. Stop dropping the same song. He just released a video like 6 months later after the song went viral because he just keeps pushing and keeps pushing. Don't be afraid. Your fans are who you're concerned with, not your family or your friends. And then what I was going to suggest to you is the only kind of your style and all that stuff is great. I like what you're doing. The first song, I just kind of heard some like mix issues. And then when you were explaining that you were kind of doing your own mixing and your own kind of recording and stuff, let me give you some advice from me. This is something that I'm personally going through all the time. We outsource our main mixes. I do the mixing for our cover songs and that kind of things in some of our smaller releases. But our actual album, we send it off to an actual mixer. And the thing of it is, I had to try to get better at it myself. But while getting better and while learning through YouTube videos, I'm even thinking about taking some extra college classes, even now after I've been doing it forever, just to see what I possibly have missed so I can get better. I'm outsourcing to mixers for sure. And while I'm trying to get better and I'm just trying to get my demos that I'm sending to my mixer stronger. And I'm even asking like, hey, what do you think of my demo mix? Do you know what I mean? Like, how does it sound? Try to get a little feedback, but still send off to the mixers, because your song dies at a mix. It can live or it dies by a mix. Like, it makes all the difference in the world and your mastering. And the tip for getting a mixer is, don't necessarily just go with your homie that mixes. Stop going with homies all the time. I can't tell you how many times I can stop going to homies. Like, look for a mixer, check out his rates. You know what I mean? Go to like a real dude. If you actually have somebody that you want, like an album that you love in your genre, like say there's a Machine Gun. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly's gonna be out of your show, but somebody like kind of low level that's in your or mid tier that does stuff. And a lot of these mixers do indie rates.
They
So
do. They do. You'll get like the craziest people who will still work on your stuff and have indie
check out your
rates.
stuff. They'll check out your system
Yeah.
kind of following around, and they'll give you a rate kind of based on that. But you never know until you ask. So you go look who on Wikipedia, who mixed whoever record of whoever it is that you like. They all have websites. They all have emails. You hit up the mixer. Get like 10 guys that you would love to work with. You send them the files. They mix it. Like, they'll charge you. They'll either say yes, no. You'll be able to afford it or not. Price it. Makes all the difference.
All right. So I guess on a final note, we're over the time limit, but
This is
I
great.
wanted. I know, no, I just want to make sure. So we've said a lot of stuff at you. So as far as either from the creative to the legal, I know that you obviously have you're doing the contracts, which is fantastic. I was so happy to hear that. Do you have any questions?
I say not really. I mean, extra advice I've gotten, those missing steps. I think, I was talking about earlier. I definitely got a couple more rungs on my ladder to where I can start like moving things up to where they need to be. Say I'm super happy. I know Alpha House has a show in Phoenix on the 30th. So hopefully, like, I get to
We love
Halloween
Whitney.
Yeah. But like, thank you guys very
Awesome.
much for like giving me the time to listen and like the advice and like the great coaching. Thank you.
Yeah, make sure that we'll look for you more in the chat, and keep checking in with us. Like, let us know how you're doing. Let us know if you're implementing these kind of things. I mean, the thing that I would like to see you take away the most from this is mixer, bulk doing your social media. Pick a day where you're doing 4 TikToks or 4 pieces of content, and you're really sticking to a schedule for that. And then figuring out what that other thing is that you're going to start branding yourself with besides the music. So you're have other things to promote along with your music. That's what I would like to see. And I would love to hear you check back in with us for sure.
100%.
All right. Thanks.
All right. So on that note, let's go ahead and move on. We have some newsy things. So that Orko, thanks for the feedback. That was awesome. If anyone else is watching and you guys want your music project or music company reviewed, then of course you can do that artist submission through topmusicattorney.com. All right, so we got things happening in the news. What do you want to start with?
First of all, let's check in because I got to pull up some graphics here. So let's check in, see what we're doing, either with the chat or let's talk about some of the things that we got going on. We got some things going on.
Monty, things are good here on this great Friday night. Hello, new friends who just checked in. Hey, glad that you guys can be here. If you're just checking in, let us know where you're checking in from. What time is it? Yeah, so, we're going into the weekend, and it's going to be jam-packed, lots of things happening, but, again, there are things happening. Yeah, we are recording, and I'm excited because, I'm going through a new singing course, and I'm pushing, new notes. You gotta learn new things and push yourself, and I'm doing it. And it's been pretty cool. So I was thinking, why don't we start with the Prince story? Because this one's kind of crazy.
Very good.
All right, let me pull this up. All right, here we go. The Prince estate says no to TikTok famous brand trying to trademark Purple Rain. All right, and what brand is this? But of course, the energy drink brand. I feel like that's a tongue twister. Bang. So
Bang.
the band Bang has been in fact barred. So what they were trying to do was to get that phrase for their products Purple Rain. And for me, what was kind of interesting when I was talking to that Orko about this before the show is that, before actually seeing the outcome of what they were litigating and trying to get the permission, I was kind of surprised because the way it works in trademark land is multiple people can use the same trademark if it's for different things, right? So if you have, for example, Pandora, the listening, universe that we all kind of passively put on as we are working, as well as Pandora, the jewelry company, those two can coexist in the universe because they do different things. And so there's not really going to be cross-pollination. There's not going to be confusion in the marketplace. So my thought was, well, if you have an energy drink brand that's trying to use this phrase, is that going to confuse people?
I definitely think it would. I definitely think. See, I disagree just because it's very different. See, like Pandora, like there's the story of Pandora. Pandora is also the in Avatar. Pandora, is the whatever the land of Avatar. So it's like there's a bunch of different uses of it. Whereas I only know one of Purple Rain. I've never heard of any other use of Purple Rain except for associated with Prince. There's not a Purple Rain jewelry, and if there was, I would assume that it was associated with Prince.
And the USPTO, so the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, agrees with you and says that it's such a widely associated phrase with Prince and Prince's estate that it just would cause consumer confusion, even though it's not really related to music, live performances, videos, right? The things that you would commonly think when you hear that phrase. So they say, we find on this record that Purple Rain points uniquely and unmistakably to Prince.
Good call on that. And you can see on the overlay that I have a purple drink on that. Now that is not the Purple Rain. They did not get a chance to make it. That's actually Purple Haze, which you might associate with Jimi Hendrix. But they also have a blue haze, and I think they had another haze. So they have other haze flavors. So maybe that's how they're getting away with that Purple Haze.
Okay. Well, we'll see if they try to appeal this, right, by going to federal court, but that's where things stand as of now. Moving on. All right, so I'm going to do a little refresh, and then, guys, we're going to cover Dua Lipa's lawsuit and an update on that. Let me just refresh real quick.
Yeah, hit like. This is the perfect opportunity for you to hit like, subscribe. If you're not watching us over on YouTube's Top Music Attorney channel, make sure that you do so. That is our main hub where we are broadcasting out from. So if you are watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, please come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube.
All right, so for the Dua Lipa story, we're gonna do this. We'll give you the lay of the land as far as what happened, but I'm gonna take the risk. We're gonna get shut down by every major record label, and they're gonna copyright strike us to death. But we're gonna do this. I have a video that I found that does a really nice job of comparing Dua Lipa song with actually two of the lawsuits that have been filed. We're talking about, two of the three, but I figured let's just talk about them all because it's so interesting. So I'll be pulling that up, but let me give you just a quick rundown to get us started. All right, so Dua Lipa's lawyer has moved for the Levitating copyright infringement lawsuit to be dismissed. Okay, so basically you file with the court and you say, court, this lawsuit is nonsense. You should not consider it any further. Here are all the reasons why. And then sometimes we are able to get these lawsuits dismissed, and so we don't have to actually go further and answer and that kind of thing. So it's been filed. Let me give you the basis. So Dua Lipa's lawyers, they made their opening statements in the copyright infringement claim brought against the singer, saying that she has no prior exposure to the two songs that this lawsuit is about. Okay, so that's a big thing when it comes to copyright, right? So if you can prove you had no exposure, or it's unlikely you ever heard a song or multiple songs, then it's hard to say, well, if you didn't hear it, right, you can't steal it.
But then
that's the argument.
But that doesn't matter because unless she's the sole songwriter that went into her room and did it, there's probably multiple writers. So it's not just if she's heard it, it's if her producers and other songwriters heard it.
That's right. And that's where this gets a little bit tricky because here's the other thing too, right? So if you have the attorney who is defending Dua Lipa, right, you have all the other people who had been named on the lawsuit, which is going to be the record label, the publishing company. It's going to be the other songwriters. And one of the other songwriters may have heard this song, may have even meant to rip it off. And that's in every single one of these situations. You never know, but obviously you got to go to bat and to, try to survive the complaint. So what I thought would be interesting is let's actually listen to this. Now, the first thing we're going to do before we get to the two songs that this particular lawsuit is covering, we're actually going to, there's a third one. There's a lot of lawsuits happening, okay?
She gets a lot of trouble
over this song. But the first one for me is super interesting. So let's watch this video. Let me share this and you guys can get a little taste of where the comparison is coming in. Go. All right, so I'm going to go in, and the hook is where I find the biggest comparison to take place. All right, so here we go. This is the chorus. Okay. So again. Okay. Compared to. So in this video, they have actually matched up both songs simultaneously. Okay. So when you hear them playing together at the same time, at the same tempo, this is where you're trying to listen for their substantial similarities or substantial differences. Okay. And then they're going to solo out Dua Lipa. Okay. All right, so right away.
That's kind of the jam
right
there.
About that. First of all, as far as the general feeling that you get, obviously there's a very similar vibe, but when you have the songs kind of stacked up against each other, I mean, they're almost exact, and I think that's where this gets a little bit tricky. Now, this is only one of the lawsuits that have been filed in regards to the song, and quite frankly, I think that this one is likely to settle because as I'm listening to it, they sound a lot alike.
They definitely have the same vibe. They definitely have the same. I mean, I don't know if there's any tempo slowing or any kind of just to make their point a little bit more from the original to the current. But yeah, no, I mean it's hard to say they don't sound the same. I mean, as soon as you played it, I mean, I was hearing it. It's very much blurred lines. Got to give it up.
That's right. Another very famous lawsuit. All right, so now let's move on, right? So we have this other lawsuit that we're talking about, okay? And then in relation to one of the songs as part of this lawsuit,
but I have no doubt
another
that
comparison.
Or not no doubt, but I mean, I definitely feel it's probable that Dua Lipa did not hear that song. Like, so for her to say, I haven't heard that, I mean, that song came out, when did that come out?
2017.
Yeah, so I mean, no, the Don Diablo did?
No. So the first one we had just listened to that we compared to, now we're moving on. The Don Diablo is the next one. Okay, so in fact, let's listen to that. Let me pull this up.
Yikes.
Okay.
I forgot my mic was on. I didn't want it to delay, but yikes.
Okay. So in that, again, but what is that? Right? It's a syncopation of words.
That one's a little tougher.
Right?
That's a little tougher. See, and the thing that I feel with these problems with some of these songs and when producers are kind of defending it is the first one, even though it's pretty matched up, it's still pretty. It's not like it's like a super complicated melody. It's like it's a super complicated drum beat. It's a kind of a standard vibe kind of thing. And so I can see like tempos, drum beats, think of like every house song that you've heard, where it just has the 4 on the floor and just like, you know what I mean? There's only so many notes. So I can definitely see when you're trying to capture a vibe, you might lock up with something without hearing it. But that being said, though, both of those, you definitely hear it. There's no question you hear it. So
Okay, so in the second lawsuit, there's actually two songs. So the Don Diablo was the first song that
yeah,
we're talking about. Now the second one is called "Wiggle and Giggle All Night." Let's listen to "Wiggle and Giggle All
the
Night."
Don Diablo came out in 1980. So
Okay,
it is
right.
very possible that she did not hear that song.
Which is something that they're arguing. So again, the line we're listening for, right, is the okay, so let's listen to this song.
I was walking down the street when I saw this handsome soldier boy winking at me. He said I'd like to make
Okay. So
That
again,
that one I can hear more of it being than the other one, and I'll tell you why. Because that is like, so you think of like bossa nova music, you know what I mean? Like I've heard the Girl from Ipanema melody in a lot of songs, and I've heard it even recently on something, the da, 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 da. Like there's a lot of
right.
kind of commonly kind of melodies that are kind of used, that are taken from those kind of songs. So that one I can kind of maybe see more of, where they were trying to go for like, also taking a kind of like a vibe. I can hear it now. Whether she heard it or not, which is the argument what they're trying to hold on, that's fine. I don't know if any of the other however many songwriters though, they probably
Right.
heard it.
So let's see. There are in this lawsuit, yeah, there's a couple of songwriters, and basically the attorney is alleging that while there are similarities, that those similarities are unprotectable and the results are coincidental and
It's
just the
vibe.
basic building blocks of music.
Yeah.
Now, this attorney for the Levitating case was the same one who was able to get Katy Perry's E.T. reversed on appeal because she ended up making a similar type of argument and saying when you have something that is so simple and it's kind of like the building blocks of music and everyone's using it's the same 3 notes, it's the same 5 notes, it's very
Was that
common.
E.T.?
Et
Was that what?
I'm sorry, Dark Horse, not Et.
Dark Horse, yeah.
Yeah, but in any case, so she's making kind of a similar jump here, and she's gone so far as to say also we've never heard these songs. Now, these
No.
weren't unpopular songs, though, and that plays into this as well.
No, for sure. And no, and like you were saying, like that Katy Perry case, that was real trouble with that Dark Horse case. So, I mean, it's a good idea that Dua Lipa got the heavy hitter for this one. And I think that I kind of agree. Like while I definitely hear it, and I think that there's going to have to be some like payouts and stuff like that. And it's possible those songwriters have heard it. I kind of might believe Dua Lipa as far as her or not, but I also get the whole like it's a vibe that it's, you know what I mean? Like while with the Blurred Lines case, when I heard that, I'm like, man, you went right in there and it was like, I need that Marvin Gaye, got to get it up, got to give it up, but I need it, I need it with a little
Well, that's
ting
even an
instead of
example.
ding.
That's even an example because DaBaby also was named on one of the lawsuits that we're talking about because he participated in
Right.
a remix that was then released. And so when you have associated talent on it, even if they didn't really write that much or really were involved, they still get sued and they might even be liable. So he had to pay out a couple $1 million too.
Did Ti get named in that, or did they let Ti off of that? Like, oh.
So in any case, we're very interested in these lawsuits and we'll continue to follow them.
Great
And
songs. All versions are great
yeah,
songs.
all great songs. That is what we think. All right, so I have a great artist tip that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. We're going to kick that Orko out of here. That Orko, thank you very much for joining us. And before we do that, we will be going through, of course, New Music Friday because we always forget that today's Friday. We think every day is Tuesday. And so we're going to go ahead and do New Music Friday now.
Yes, we've been having trouble with these weeks lately, the last couple, just knowing everything is a blur. We're in the middle of recording this new album. We're creating content. We got a big bulk creation of content like we gave in our artist tip today. You know, and like she said, we are here every Tuesday and Friday at 7 p.m. So make sure that you are locked in. But let's talk about some new music we got here.
All right, can't wait. No, I went through the new music that we are playing this evening, and I'm excited for all these releases.
Yeah, this is really cool. So first up, we've covered her before, Yuna. This is we've covered her Y3 album. This is her Y4. It's a part of a 5-part series which she's going to release called Y5. And what it is she's basically just releasing her whole record called Y5, but just in little increments. So 3 songs here, 3 songs there, kind of, you know, kind of action. And this is the 4th installment. There's 3 songs on it: Fool for You, Relax Your Mind, Make Believe. I'm going to play a couple of pieces from some of these songs. But you know, Yuna has collaborated with artists like Usher, Tyler the Creator, Pharrell Williams. But on this one, this album, and on this EP, she doesn't have any collaborators. She really just kind of wants to make sure that her voice and her message is kind of getting out there. She said that, you know, COVID really affected her and just kind of being locked down, and she was writing a lot of these songs during that time. She's just now starting to get out there. She said she lost a lot of family members and friends to COVID, and so it's just been kind of like a delicate process for kind of getting out there. And so these EPs that she releases and that she puts are like bite sized, because she just wants to give you little pieces of it here and there so you can get back to your life and live, because she's just on this whole living life kind of thing now.
Okay, great.
So I'm gonna pull up. The first song, and this one is called Fool for You.
Nice, you get on with your life. Cliche for me to say this when you go away. I'm just a fool for you, longing for a lost love, asking the whole wide
Very
world,
smooth.
baby, can
Great voice.
Yeah, great R&B, smooth indie pop sound. So that one is Fool for You. And this next one I want to show you is called Relax Your Mind. Oh.
Listen with you, we'll just let your dreams get to you, and I'll live right here with you, baby, I'll see it through, we'll just
I love Yuna. I have been a fan of Yuna for probably like 10, 11 years now. Every album that she releases is just very smooth. If you like that gentle kind of smooth R&B vocal, you'll love Yuna. She definitely doesn't get enough props. So yeah, check out Yuna Y4.
Awesome.
Next is a artist that I am not familiar with. I've heard when I played her other song that I think is called Gaslight. I heard it somewhere before, but this is NG, I believe is how you pronounce her name. Her new song, Madeline, and it is just a fun dance song. This is the second song that she has out right now that I can find on Spotify. I don't know if she's done any other kind of collabs, but her first song, Gaslight, hit over 2 million on Spotify. I think she may have had some TikTok viral kind of stuff going on. She kind of has an Azalea Banks vibe, or like Nadia O with like a little bit of Kesha in there, but it's really good. And I've already listened to this song like 3-4 times today.
girls and the gals and the boys and the lads, all the shots and the pints and the pills and the tats. Do you walk, have a stick, give a kiss, get a cat, big pill on my card and my dad's real mad. Let's roll.
You can turn it up a little.
Let's roll. Madeline, let's roll.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the story. Okay, so now it's 10 p.m. I'm really glad we left the pre-up on my fake ID. Yeah, I was born in 93, and this line's around the corner,
Really good.
Do you think we're getting in? I say, don't worry, you're with me. But this girl says a bitch thinks I look like a kid.
I like this.
Vibe. So let me get a little bit more of this right here.
Would you do it for a kiss? My friends just got you out of your mind. All the girls The gals and the boys and the lads and the shots and the pints and the pills and the tats. They all gather, say, give me
That's
Yeah, this is
dope.
good.
Yeah, so that's Ingie Madeline. I'm started following her on Spotify, and I'm looking forward to more stuff. That song definitely, like I said, has an Azalea Banks vibe right off the bat, especially with the way that the vocals and the beat and stuff comes in. Not necessarily content wise, but just the general styling of it. Dig it. And then the final artist that I wanted to highlight today is an artist called Arden Jones. Now, this guy is a little more popular. He's new to me though. What's really attracted me to this guy, his marketing plans. I found him in my new. Oh, are we skipping?
Little Skippy.
I found. Yeah, you're a little skippy too. You're a little out of sync. Why don't you reset once? I don't know if it's you or if it's me. Give me a 1 2.
Let's do it.
Oh, check. Little skippy. Little skippy.
1 2.
Perfect. All right, so let's try this again. So this next artist that I want to cover is a new artist to me. His name is Arden Jones. I believe he's like 21 years old. He's someone that came across to me in my New Music Friday on my Spotify playlist. And then as I was kind of learning more about him, because the song caught my ear, I love his marketing plan for what he is doing. So he's releasing Age Tape 8 today, and it's a 3-song, we'll just call it extended single because it's not quite an EP, but it's a little more than a single. And what he's doing is he's releasing a new 3-song single every Thursday. So this is the
Kid's
8th in a
hustling.
series.
Yeah.
The kid is working really hard, and he has this. It's a very pop vibe, but this guy's got some hooks, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of get into it a little bit. The song is called Mr. Sunshine.
All jokes till I start feeling like the punchline. I know that you want Mr. Optimistic, that ain't realistic. I ain't Mr. Sunshine. Do my smile keep you around? How about when it's upside down? How about when I'm in bed 4 or 5 days? Will you love me now?
This is dope.
I want that money. You smell cyanide in my honey. Watch me cry at night and then roll your eyes till you decide to start running.
This guy's got like everything sounds like a hook to me.
You can turn it up a little.
I'm sorry, I'm not Mr. Sunshine. All jokes till I start feeling like a punchline. I know that you are Mr. Optimistic.
So that's Mr. Sunshine, and then he has another song. Like I said, he does 3 on this, and this other song that I liked a lot was called Gold Plated.
You're gold plated, but on the inside cold and anxious. And maybe I'm wrong for thinking you're honest with yourself, but I think you and me are soul chasing, having everything's
This kid's good.
overrated. So I sing songs, you dance along until we melt. Feel like you're shiny on the outside, the inside is different. Cause you're afraid of showing people everything you're missing.
Very cool voice.
You put on a show, it only works for a minute. When you post on the gram, you follow numbers like religion. That affects your way of living. You ain't meant to see these things, they put you in a mental prison. You want the fancy things, the shiny rings on television.
Sounds great, man. Like this kid is ready. This kid is ready, in my opinion. And I went through more of his songs on his Spotify just to see what the other age tapes sound like. They're all great quality. That great sound. He has a locked in sound. I just think everything's hooks galore, and I'm checking for this kid. There's another kid that I just learned about today that followed. So one of my favorite artists with Yuna that I covered, and then 2 that I've just learned about. And that's how I like to do it. I love discovering new artists. It's great that people are still making new music that's, kind of creative, and people are kind of doing it on their own and doing new marketing techniques without the help of labels, without the help of
Right. Yeah.
It's
I mean, you
fantastic.
can be your own label. That's what we preach on this channel all the time. Just do it yourself.
But that's what I got for, New Music Friday. Again, please make sure that you realize that we are here every Tuesday and Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come over to Top Music Attorney and subscribe. Thanks for having me, though.
Thanks, that Orko. We will see you on the next business news segment. I'm not finished with you guys, though, so stick around. I'm going to give you a super sexy music business tip, and I'm going to be giving you some visuals as well through this, okay? We're going to be talking about beat leases, okay? So let me get myself prepared because we have things to look at with each other. Okay, there we go. Sort of. One sec. We're getting ready. Okay. So for today's music business tip, I'm going to give you the ultimate guide to beat leases, okay? Also known as licenses. These words are used interchangeably, so we will use them interchangeably in this video. When it comes to getting these beats licensed, right, so to use basically instrumentals that you can build on, there's different ways to build on them. You can add your vocal, your rap, you can even produce on top of them, you can pitch the beat. Obviously, we can pitch it up, a third. There's all kinds of things that you can do. So we start with just getting the actual beat. How do you do that? And then what are wrinkles that our clients run into? I'm a real entertainment attorney, and so we have problems that come up that a lot of rappers and artists and producers don't know about, don't think about, and so we're going to cover it all in this video, okay? Before we move on, just a friendly reminder that when you guys like and comment on the video, it helps to kind of get the word out and to tell the algorithm to push it out. I want this channel to continue growing and building our community of artists and producers and badass people in the music business who want to represent themselves and to stay legally protected. So I appreciate you guys liking and subscribing to the video. All right, so when it comes to basically getting, these beats licensed or leased, there's kind of three main ways that we go about it, right? So number one, in the actual leasing space, you can do it on a non-exclusive basis. We'll talk about what that is. An exclusive basis, or alternatively, you can just purchase the song outright. Now, when it comes to licensing or leasing the song, you have to just remember, it's kind of like, renting a video, like paying to watch on Amazon a new release. You are leasing it for a temporary basis. You don't own the thing. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. So when it comes to number one, the non-exclusive lease, you are, again, not taking ownership of the beat, and you're doing it on a non-exclusive basis, which means the producer is going to keep leasing out the song to other people. It is non-exclusive. So I've had artists who will contact our law office because they get really upset and they're like, what is happening? I paid all this money for, for this song. I put out my song, I'm doing a music video, and then lo and behold, someone else has released my song. But what they're referring to is the fact that the instrumental was licensed by someone else. And so, there is a different version out in the universe. And so at that point, we got to kind of figure out what the best method of moving forward is. Now, before we get to the next one, let me show you. One of the most popular websites that you guys like to use is BeatStars. Here we go. So when it comes to BeatStars, let's just randomly go in like we were going to purchase a song. And that way I can give you a real kind of overview of what this looks like. And so we say, okay, great. I've listened to this beat. This is my jam. I'm going to put a great, top line over this. Here are your licensing options, okay, or leasing options. Same thing. So you can go in and you say, all right, so I can get just the MP3, right? And MP3, of course, is a lower quality version of the song. It's sufficient enough. You're going to save, in this case, $10 to get the MP3. You can upgrade, so you get the MP3 and WAV. The reason you want to get the WAV is because it's higher quality. And what happens, guys, is that when you upload the music to your music distributor, the music distributor is going to compress the song a little bit to make it fit guidelines of where it's being sent to, right? So Spotify and Amazon. And then Amazon and Spotify and Deezer and all these places will compress the song again. So if you've ever wondered why your song sounds a little thin, it just sounds a little different by the time you listen to it on the music platforms, it's because it's been compressed through those processes. So the reason you want to do the WAV is because you don't want your music sounding like trash. So I would not suggest doing the MP3 route. In this case, it's only $10 more, so just pay the extra money and do the wave and get the wave, okay? That's number one. So let's pretend we were going to purchase this. Let's go through the process. Add to cart, okay? Oop, it wants me to agree to stuff, which I'm going to do just so I can actually get to the next page. All right, hold. It's saying something is wrong. Let me just try to figure this out. All right, I think I added something else earlier. Let's see if I take that off, it will fix itself. There we go. Apparently it doesn't want me purchasing more than one song at once. So the reason I wanted to show you this, on the checkout page, it says review license. There's a couple things I want to go through with you guys. This is the thing that you are purchasing. Okay, and by actually understanding what the license agreement says, you can understand the restrictions on these songs, because what happens, especially with these non-exclusive songs that you can go and buy, someone else can go and buy, or I should say lease, they have restrictions on how much you can use them, right? So sometimes it will say you can only use it for so many streams and then you have to pay again. So let me just point out a couple of things. All right, so starting with the licensing fee, you're going to pay, the licensing fee that we agreed to on the checkout. Delivery, we're going to give you the delivery that you chose. In this case, it was an MP3 and a wave. Term, how long are you going to have this song? Guess what? It's not for the rest of your lives. You got to make sure you read this and understand that the lease is only for a certain period of time. And if you forget, you're going to be in breach of contract. So in 10 years, you're supposed to go and renew. Okay? And you might not be able to renew. They might not give you another, option on this. So this is kind of where I get a little like, it'd be better to have like an in-house producer if you're just producing your own stuff. But it's not the end of the world. Okay, I just want you guys to be aware of the fact that the lease or the license is only for the period of time that it says in the contract that you are getting. In this case, it's only 10 years. Okay. In this case, you get use of the beat, and it's gonna spell out. It's a non-exclusive basis. We're gonna lease it to other people. Okay. You can use it for one song. You don't get to do very different versions with different top lines. Only the one. It's granted, again, non-exclusive. They want to keep reinforcing that. Non-exclusive, non-exclusive, non-exclusive. And then the song may be used for promotional purposes. You can put it on your EP, your album. You can put it on digital streaming. And then right here goes the licensee, you may use the new song in a synchronization of one audio-visual work no longer than 5 minutes. The reason why this matters is because they're telling you you can put it in one video. That's it. You don't get to put it in TV shows, a movie, a commercial, and that's going to be not so great for some of you, because if you get a placement in TV and film, you get a huge chunk of change, right? So you get something as small as $5,000, $10,000, $50,000. So understand that as far as how much you can use the song, it's restricted based on the license that you are purchasing. So, and another thing too is I have clients who will be like, well, I don't like the license agreement. What do I do? Well, you can obviously use BeatStars to find the producer. If you find someone, you dig their song, you don't want to go through this platform, obviously look them up and you can contact them as far as maybe having a special side deal. We have done that. All right, let's keep going. So in this case, right, you're just paying for the wave and the MP3. So they're saying you have a 5,000 limit. And then on the products, there's 500,000 audio streams, one video of 500,000 non-monetized video streams. So you can't even put monetization on your YouTube videos. So there are a lot of restrictions, but this is, of course, the lower of the licensing options. And then there's a whole section. Restrictions on use of the beat, okay? You can't transfer it, right? You get this. You can't sell your song. You can't give it to someone else. You are the only one that gets to have this license. You can't give the sync rights for additional things, right? We just talked about this for TV, for film, movies, so on and so forth. So the point just being, there is a lot of restrictions. The producer is still going to own the song. You will never own the instrumental. When you register it with PROs like, BMI and ASCAP, this is the percentage you have to register. So guys, it's really important that you read these, and I'm just kind of glazing through it real quick so you can see some of these things and understand what they say. But that's not the only license that you can do, right? So when it comes to, let's go back here, because, someone might say beat makers might be, useless when it comes to actually being a big artist, but that's actually not correct, okay? And let me show you why. So a lot of bigger artists, in fact, do use this platform, and that's why they have these bigger tiers, right? So you can get what are called the tracked out lease, and that means you get the stems. And the reason you might want stems, which are going to be basically, they'll send you exports will be like the drums only, the guitar only. So it's going to be kind of the sections of the song rendered out. The reason you do that is if you think you're going to produce it further, right? You can add in your additional stuff. You can mix it differently. So that's why you want to maybe pay the additional money to get the stems. And that's called a tracked out lease. But in any case, going back, you can do the unlimited lease or even negotiate a specialized package. So let's pretend we're going all in, okay? And let's see what this one would look like. Review the lease. All right, here we go. So we're going to get the MP3, wave, and stems. But we're only getting this for 10 years. So again, this is a lease. We don't get to own the beat at any point. This is still non-exclusive. Now, for some of the other beats, I kind of went in, was looking at what's available on this website. There are some that are listed that are offered on an exclusive basis, and their prices are like $3,000. So for more established artists who are using this platform, they do have options for you, okay? But in this case, we're looking at, this is still a non-exclusive license. But that's number 2 that we were talking about, right? Number 1, non-exclusive. It's being sold to as many people as want to purchase it and or not purchase it, lease it. But then number 2, for exclusive, it means one person gets to license the beat, but they still don't own it. And that's where the problem kind of comes up, okay? So, if the song ends up doing really well and the artist wants to go and sell the song to use it in TV and commercials, a lot of these lease agreements say the same thing. They go, no, you only get it for the 10 years. You can put it on music platforms. You can have unlimited uses. If you paid the higher tiers, unlimited music videos. You can use it in your live performances. And that's all great, but you still don't have the ability to sell it. And I'll tell you guys what, when it comes to selling your songs, what you don't know is that you can actually get a lot of money for selling your songs. And that's why record labels want your music. That's why they're going to sign you and take ownership of your music. It's not because they're nice or, they think that they'll do a better job than you. That actually is probably what they think. But in any case, understand that your music's really valuable. And in this case, you can't sell it because you don't own the beat. Okay? So, I had laid out, but there's 3 ways to do this. So a non-exclusive license, an exclusive license, and then the third one is to just simply buy out the beat. And I'd kind of mentioned that earlier. If you fall in love with a certain instrumental, you can go directly to the producer. The producer's going to tell you, some outrageous number. All right, cool. Pay me $10,000 and sure, I'll sell you the beat. And maybe you're willing to pay that. But what I have found is that you guys should think about how do you get an in-house producer, right? So someone that works for you. And when they make the music pursuant to your agreement, you gotta have a written agreement. Okay, I call these like collaboration agreements, purchase agreements, whatever you want to call it. I have a free template in the book that I sell, How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. You can get it from there for like 25 bucks. But in any case, you have an agreement that says, hey, producer, when you make the song, I own it. We're not leasing. I don't owe you more money in the future. There's no restrictions on the song. And I would really recommend that you guys do this. I have some artists who just have these, basically we build the templates so we can go and purchase the songs, we can license them, we can do whatever we got to do and do it quickly. But obviously there's a lot of you that are utilizing these websites. So that's why I wanted to literally go through these actual lease agreements so you guys learn how to think like an attorney and understand what these leases are saying. All right, guys, let me jump back in real quick. I've been ignoring the chat. Sorry, I got on a roll there. I write my own beats. Yeah, well, Kanye, he likes to sample. He likes to, obviously he's an incredible producer and songwriter, but he does like to sample. So that means he is, in fact, taking other people's instrumentals, vocals, all kinds of things. No leases forever, like leasehold land in real life. Yes. Sean on Facebook, if you own your own beat, that essentially duplicates a beat that can be leased. Are there repercussions? If your beat replicates a beat, it depends, right? Is it a cover song? If it's a cover song, then you need to make sure you comply. And I have a video on how to legally do cover songs. But if it's an essence of the song kind of thing, then you might be okay. But, I've had clients who will reach out and be like, hey, I recreated T-Pain's, so-and-so song. It's the same melody, but we did it ourselves. Okay, no, if you are copying what they did, then you might get into some trouble, right? So you got to make sure there's obviously your originality in the song, but love songs are usually about the same lyrical content. They follow the same 4 chords. They have very similar drum patterns. So there are a lot of similarities in music. That's okay. But if you are literally just copying melodies, that's where you might get into trouble. All right, guys, so we totally forgot to watch the music video earlier in the show. We've been on a roll and just having so much fun. So we will only have one video we're watching, and that's going to be Evanescence, Call Me When You're Sober. But I love you guys. We'll be doing the last of the purge. I talked about that at the beginning of the show. We are purging out on social media, so make sure you are following on Miss Krystle. Everything, it's at Miss Krystle Live on Instagram, Facebook, literally everywhere. So keep watching, and we'll have new content for you early next week. I love your faces. Enjoy, and we will see you on Tuesday at 7 p.m. p.s.t. Bye, guys.